What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Growing Smart, the Stronghold podcast, the one podcast that my mother and my grandmother enjoy most. And Mom, Grandma, thank you so much for being regular watchers of the podcast. For any other people who may have accidentally stumbled upon this and wondering if you're in the right place, probably not, but stick around. You might actually get some help out of what we're here to talk about today. So today, two topics. First, I've got a lovely guest, my good friend and longtime client, Kristin Pelletier, owner of Access Computer Training, is going to join us and talk a little bit about Facebook leads and talk a little bit about how you can use grants to grow your business and maybe even tell you how you could use grants to get some training from her, which would be awesome. And then after Kristin goes, I'm going to talk to you just a little bit more about some really cool stuff we got upcoming that I think you'll find helpful and free, which is nice. So without further ado, I'm going to bring in Kristin. But as I prepare to do that, she's waiting patiently. I have a question for you. Are you running Facebook ads? Are you running Facebook ads now? So you can post your questions in the comments and I will be able to feature your questions in the comments if you do that. So put your questions in there for Kristin and we will bring her in. Cue the fancy coffee video. There it is.
Hey. Hey, Tom, how are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome, welcome. So glad that I was able to effectively bully you into doing this earlier this morning.
You did. You bullied me hard.
I did. So that's what I do.
But listen, what scared me was the fact that your grandmother was watching. So I was like, oh, well, then I have to be on here.
Well, so that's what I do is I contact guests early in the morning and I just say, you need to be on the podcast today. And I just annoy them until they come on.
That's exactly what happened.
Got a little feedback coming through on your end. Do you have this playing anywhere else? Are you watching yourself? Watch yourself?
No, hold on. Let me turn my speaker down. Is that better?
That's better. Perfect.
Okay.
So we have a few things to talk about today. But as I know everyone is probably interested in the grants thing. But first, why don't you tell my grandmother and my mother what you do for a living, what your business is all about.
So yeah, good afternoon, everybody. I'm Kristin Pelletier. My school is Access Computer Training, and we are based out of Lutz, Florida. And currently, we're not there, obviously. So what I do is I provide training for folks that are in kind of an unemployment situation, been laid off, furloughed, hours cut. And so we work with those folks to get them the training they need to either get a job or get a better job once the hiring frenzy begins, which really, there are still a lot of companies hiring. So, our students are still getting jobs. But most of our students come to us through a grant through the unemployment office. And so we work with them for about 3 months to get them the training, the computer skills they need and professional development, which Tom is also a part of, and get them back out to self-sufficiency and a better job. So that's what
I forgot to tell you, it's a requirement to be drinking coffee while you're on the podcast.
Is my Grateful Dead Dancing Bears water Yeti okay?
Just lie to us and tell us it's coffee.
It's totally coffee.
Awesome. Good. Glad you are qualified to be here. So to put that into terms that I can understand, because I'm not as bright as you, that means that you help people that got no job to get a job by training them, and they don't have to pay for it because the government does.
Exactly.
Awesome. Exactly. And that type of training is like QuickBooks, be a bookkeeper, get Microsoft certified, maybe some IT stuff, good jobs.
All of that. Yes.
And you can take, if you want to do all of that, and I think many of your students do, you can actually go and do all of that. So you could go and get the QuickBooks thing and then get the Microsoft thing. And if you've been out of work for like 5 or 10 years and you want to make it look like you've been doing some really cool education, come and get something that you can actually use and let the government pay you to do it.
Pay for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly. And on top of all that, the great thing is they get a lot of support in the way of once they get the training, okay, now what? So, we help them polish up their interview skills, which, Tom, you're an integral part of that, and building up their resume, getting them on LinkedIn, and really getting their profile on LinkedIn noticed and how to do that. But so it's inclusive of all that. Obviously, the ending goal for all of my students is job placement. So we provide not only the computer training, but we also provide all of the support necessary to go out there and be able to sell yourself after you get that training. That seems to be a difficult thing for a lot of people. And so we've added a lot of the components to give the students the support they need to be more confident and be able to go out and sell themselves with confidence. So.
What's interesting about this is, so here Kristin sits with this great computer training company. So you can learn computer skills, you can learn Google, you can learn QuickBooks, all that type of stuff. And the government pays for it. And you would think, man, her classroom would just be filled all the time. And it is filled all the time. But you would think like it would be, like she'd have to run 5 courses a day. Like it would just be so many people right now trying to do that. The challenge is because the government is the one paying for this, they don't do a real good job necessarily getting the word out that this benefit is there. They kind of rely on the providers like Kristin to get the word out. And so while she's trying to train students as an entrepreneur herself, small business herself, she's also got to get the word out. And so it might be why you haven't heard of this. Because most time people that hear of it, they like walk into a government office and someone says, hey, here's where you can go. And that's not necessarily always the best customer service. So I'm sure those people try well, but the provider actually tends to be the better one at helping you get qualified and that type of stuff.
Exactly.
So, so since Kristin has this great opportunity, her challenge is getting people to know that that is the opportunity they can have. And so I've worked with her over a number of years, helping her to actually be able to get people to know about this great message. The problem isn't in her product or her service. The problem is just getting people to understand that it's good and it's for them. Right. And so we've tried a bunch of different things and all of it I think has gone pretty well. But the one thing that's really been blowing up for you recently is Facebook lead ads. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you got into Facebook ads and how's that working for you? What are you doing with that?
So at first, being somebody that really didn't know the difference between boosting posts and an actual ad campaign, I was wasting my money on boosting posts, which got me nothing. And then I started working with you, Tom, and you started kind of showing me little bits and pieces of how to get into the ads manager and the difference between, an ad set and an actual ad. And so you really kind of walked me through understanding the breakdown between, the actual campaign, the ad set, and then the actual ads, and how to put the ad together to make it enticing enough for somebody to want to click on it. And then bring it over to an opt-in page. And then from there, they fill out the form. So what I do is a little different. They can't just buy something right then and there. We actually have to have a conversation with them to make sure they qualify for the grant. So this is more of a lead campaign because we need to talk to that lead before they can really sign up for anything to make sure that they qualify for the grant. So you've been kind of walking me through, I think what would we do last time? I think we started doing a split test and, kind of what worked, what didn't. Okay, let's take what works and kind of work with that and shut the other ones off. So I've been learning a lot about the testing that comes with Facebook ads too, thanks to you. So it's been pretty awesome.
Awesome. Appreciate that. And I know you also work with a marketing company that's helped you with some of that too. But the cool thing is the type of ads Kristin is running is called a Facebook lead ad. If you go to my YouTube channel, I've got a how to make a Facebook lead ad little tutorial there. It's only a few minutes. I literally just 30 minutes ago got off a 2-hour training with the private client group where I walked them through in a workshop style. And we actually built those for the members of the group. It was $100 if other people wanted to attend, but for them, it was free. You're a member, of course, of the private client group. But you already had that. So you were good to go. Yeah. the thing that's so cool about the Facebook lead ad is, like you said, people are actually filling out a form. So you're just getting leads coming in. And I mean, if you don't mind sharing some of your numbers, like how many leads have you gotten in the last couple of weeks? And do you know generally what that's cost you?
Oh my God. Okay. So as of July 3rd, when I turned on the leads, I am up to, let's see, can you see this?
Don't show people's names. Don't show people's names.
I know. But it's crazy. It's like 2 pages worth, I don't know, 30, 40, almost 40 leads per page. So I'm up to about 80 leads now, to the point where I almost can't keep up with them.
Yeah.
I have 2 calls this afternoon. I have 4 calls set up for tomorrow. So the way we did it is we actually, we created a Calendly account where if people are that interested, they have to make an appointment with me. And then they better be there when I call. Well, before I was getting leads and I would call them, but then they wouldn't be there. And then they wouldn't call me back, or then their voicemail was full, or their voicemail hasn't been set up yet, or then I would try to text them. And, it just went around and around. I was just wasting my time, spinning my wheels. So this time around, I would say 90% of the calls that I make, they are there waiting for me to call. Like they want to know about this grant. They want to know about this training. And so it's changed a lot from before, when I started really on my own doing Facebook ads, failing miserably at it. But yeah, so it's been a great thing. I have to say I would say,
I don't know anybody. I don't know any entrepreneur right now that wouldn't want 80 leads. And then, like you said, they can click and actually schedule with you. And now they're starting to do that. Yeah. So now it's not even leads. Now it's just appointments.
It's appointments.
Now it's appointments. And it's a dangerous question, because it really depends on the business you're in and what the offer is, to how much you end up paying for each of those leads. And then of course it really matters how many of those we end up converting, if it's really worth it, which, you may still be in some of the earlier stages on. It'll be interesting to see in a month where you're at. Yeah. But generally, do you know what you're paying for your leads right now? Like per lead? Do you know how many dollars?
So my budget is $40 a day.
Mm-hmm. Which is high for initially testing audiences, just so people know. That's very low. That's very low when it's producing, because because obviously your leads are worth a lot more than that to you.
Right. Well, and so the other thing too is, you have to think is I get $5,000 for every student.
Right.
So, my thing.
How much is each appointment pretty much costing you right now? Do you know, what do you pay per lead? Do you know that?
I could look it up.
Don't worry about it. I can look it up too. I think I have access. I think I have access to your ads manager.
I was going to say the last time I looked at it was like $9 and something, but then it kind of went down a little bit too. So, and then it fluctuates, because on the weekends I turn off the Calendly because I have my limits. But so obviously the leads are more because I don't get any on the weekends. But then it just blows up on Monday and Tuesday.
You can set up Calendly so they can schedule with you on Monday. But so that's great. So here's what I'm talking about. So you're spending about $9 to get an at bat with somebody who has responded to this, and then that $9, if they convert, is worth, say, $5,000 for you. So you're at a $9 spend for $5,000 return. And so what that means is, when you're talking about spending $40 a day, it may scare some entrepreneurs, spending $40 a day. But if we converted 1 lead a day, that would mean at $40 a day, you would be making $5,000 a day. If we converted 1 lead a week, you're still doing well. If you converted one lead every 10 days, you're still $1,000 in the positive. Yeah. So that is, that's not bad. Now, there's a process for building up to that. I don't start anyone off at $40 a day until we know things are working and stuff like that. So that's great.
And you and I didn't. We started, I think, at $2 per ad per day or something like that. So it was really low, and then slowly just kind of chipped away at kind of building that up. And then obviously did the testing to make sure what worked, what didn't, and then put a little bit more money into what worked. Right. So, yep.
Perfect. So I told you I'd only keep you 15 minutes. We've got a minute left here. So why don't you tell folks who are watching, who might be interested in being a student of yours, So if I am unemployed, or I know someone who's unemployed who could use some training, and I personally will go into Kristin's business with every class, and I help them on how to interview better and land jobs, especially people who have been out of work, they're insecure, they've got a lot of self-esteem issues with how they're going to promote themselves and she has a resume specialist that comes in. So if you know someone like that needs some fresh skills training to make them very relevant to the business world today, and they need some of that personal coaching and help, we even bring in Dress for Success, people like that to help them out. So it's more than just go to a class, guys. This is not like go to your local junior college with Kristin. It's, she's going to help mentor you, shape you, coach you, train you, prepare you, polish you up, and get you a job and help you with that. If you know anyone like that, or if that's you, here's what you can do to contact Kristin the easiest way. And I'll put this in the comments as well. Go ahead and let the good people know.
Yeah, so the school name is Access Computer Training. We are in Lutz. You can certainly call the office at 813-575-8400. Or you can call me directly on my cell phone, because I'm right now working from home, at 813-326-2628. We spend a few minutes kind of chatting about, asking you some questions to see if you pre-qualify. If I think you would qualify at that point, then depending on what county you're in, whether you're Hillsborough, Hernando, Pasco, Pinellas, Polk, Sarasota County, then I direct you back to them to apply for the grant. So we walk you through it. We hold your hand through the grant process. We've got the links. With Hillsborough, you have to click on a link and apply online. With Pasco Hernando, you actually have to, I send your information over to them, and they have somebody reach out to you and start the process over the phone. So they're a little bit different per county, just depends on what county you're in. But then from there, a couple of pieces of documents you need to provide, proof of residency in Pasco or Hillsborough, whatever, and proof that you can work in the U.S., Social Security card, over 18, your license. So pretty simple things like that you provide them for paperwork. And then they have created, with the WIOA grant, that's been around forever, but they have created a new grant called R3, Rapid Recovery Response, for Hillsborough people. And for Pasco people, they've created another grant as well, specifically for people that have been affected by COVID. It's shorter application process, shorter time to get approved, short-term training, which all my trainings are. And it's basically like, hurry up, get them in, get them approved, get them trained, get them back to work. So we have information on those grants as well. If you don't qualify, if you've not been affected by COVID, but you've been laid off for, a lot longer than when COVID started, then we would defer you to the WIOA grant, which takes a little bit longer to qualify, a little bit more paperwork, but still it's the same dollar amount, and it still provides the same training and everything. So
perfect.
Yeah.
And so I've been flashing your number up on the screen there. You guys can see that in the comments on the social channels that you're in. And if you're watching this, and if you're watching the recording of this in a little while, Kristin is available just about 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. And, just let her walk you through the process. It's just, don't be afraid to reach out. Again, reach out, call for your friends, a lot of times this is something that people should be doing for themselves, but, they aren't there. And what I want you to understand is this is not like trying to encourage your friend on the couch to get up and go to school. This is taking your friend on the couch, right? And not everyone that's in her classroom are like people on the couch, by the way. Like, that's probably the people that aren't in your classroom. They're actually very ambitious people that are a lot of times just maybe they haven't worked in a while or whatever, or they're changing careers.
Well, the thing is, right now, Tom, you got a lot of people that have been laid off, and they're kind of sheltering in place right now. I mean, with the amount of cases every day in the state of Florida, I don't know about you, but I'm staying home. And so I think a lot of people have that same mentality. If they can stay home, they are, and worrying about what's next, what's going to happen. And we are doing all our trainings online now, live, virtual online trainings. And so we just get you set up at home, and we're ready to rock and roll. So we haven't really missed a beat in that sense, where we move from the classroom to the Zoom live virtual classroom. And it's still the next best thing to being there. So All the support is still there. It's just everything is virtual now. So it's kind of the sign of the times. But the great thing about it is the students get to learn how to do video chatting and video conferencing, because that's how interviews are done now. So they're going to learn a new skill set as well in the Google Classroom. And so they're going to learn a lot with the tools that we use too in the classroom, which will help them in, a real life scenario, getting out there and getting back to work.
And I know you have a very diverse group of students, but I have noticed two things in common with all of your students in the 2 or 3 years I've been training them now. Is that one, your students are very, very compassionate people. You just get really folks that maybe have experienced certain challenges in their life, or they've been taking care of someone else their whole life. Like maybe you'll get like moms that raised the family and stuff, and maybe husband was the breadwinner and now he's gone. And you get a lot of those people where they're just like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but they really have what it takes to do well. And they just need some skills and some coaching and some encouragement. Yeah. And so the big thing, and the second thing that a lot of them have in common is many of them are over the age of 40.
Yeah.
I think you have a lot of women that come in, and but not exclusively. We do have some people with disabilities. We get some English as a second language.
Yeah.
But it's not like people that are there to make money off of something or to ride something out. Everyone there has ambition and they're intending to do well. And so they're very, very moldable. You'll be surrounded by people that'll get you excited. And the other thing I just want to say real quick is that it's, again, not like sending someone to school. It's like sending someone into the arms of a counselor, a coach, an encourager who's not just going to train you, but going to help you get where you need to be. So if you know anyone, or if you yourself are really looking for that fresh start, Access Computer Training is definitely the way to go. Government will pay for it, and you can do it from home. So what are you waiting for?
Win-win. I mean, they got nothing to lose. Make the call, because this is the real deal. It's a real grant. You don't have to pay it back. So I think a lot of people are just leery of, some of the Facebook ads, and they'll respond on Facebook and say, I don't know, I don't want to give my information out online. I'm like, I totally get it. Here's my number. Just call me, and I'll walk you through it. Yeah. So
awesome. Well, hey, that's great. Glad the Facebook leads are killing it for you. Yeah. And we will talk on the private client group. What's today? Today's Tuesday. So we'll talk on Thursday, maybe take a little look at your conversion and how those things are going, and get it even better. So thank you, Kristin, for hanging out with me today.
Thank you, guys.
You can go and share this with your grandma on your Facebook now.
Thank you. I will do that. Thank you, Tom. We'll see you.
All right. That was awesome. Kristin is doing so good. So now on to our next topic of the day, which is the private client group that we were just talking about on Thursday. So I've been running a private client group now officially for just about a month. And if you're interested in finding out more about that, here's where you can go to do it. That is strongholdtraining.com/PCG, stands for private client group. And the private client group is just a little group I have running, a little group of entrepreneurs and small business owners, some marketing people, various industries that are trying to do a couple of things. One, they're trying to grow their business through some marketing techniques that work really, really well. Like Facebook ads, like Kristin's doing, getting leads that way. We've got a lot of real estate agents in there that are doing that really well, getting tons of leads from that. And people that are, again, entrepreneurs who just really want to stay focused. We do a lot with leveraging your unique motivation. We do a lot with time management. So basically, if you are an entrepreneur who wants to be more consistent, have more leads coming in, so you're not out having to cold call and knock on doors to get them, where you can just focus on helping your clients and kind of have a machine, what I call a predictable success formula that's bringing in business, then look no further than the private client group. I am really proud of those guys and what they're doing. Like I said, we have a monthly training. One of the benefits of the private client group is they get a monthly workshop where we actually build stuff together. And just an hour ago, we finished with ours this month, which was building Facebook ad campaigns. And we probably built about 5 different Facebook ad campaigns today, which was awesome. Well, we got done a little early today. I've got one other announcement to make. I've got 5 minutes left. If you are watching this live, get a comment in or questions in for me. If you have any questions about, well, I can't answer questions now that Kristin's gone about her business. I can answer a little bit. I will do my best. If you have questions for Kristin, you can put that in the comments. I'm sure she'll go back in and answer those in the future. If you have any questions about private client group or any questions about Facebook ads, you can put that in the comments below. Next, I want to talk about one last topic, which I did not put in the announcement for today. But what I want to talk about is video. A little bit about video. Why do I still have that banner? See, if you don't know how to do video, then you just leave your banners up. Here we go. I want to talk a little bit about video. So you can see here, I'm running a live stream. This may or may not be impressive to you that I can bring on guests and play little videos and things like that. Maybe it is impressive to you. I don't know. But it's something that is becoming more and more necessary today. Is if you're trying to really reach an audience, you want to make sure that your presentation is not necessarily really high end, but relevant to them, can keep their attention. Right? That's the challenge. How do we keep people's attention? And we talk about social media video, when we talk about live streams and all these different types of things, there are some really key elements you need to have. As a matter of fact, this Thursday in my private client group, that's what we're spending our call on Thursday, is how to make these videos. But to just give you a little teaser on that, one of the most important elements, if not the most important elements to your video, has nothing to do with how fancy it is and if you have like screens and scrolling tickers and all that type of stuff, and cool little videos and all that, and your live streams. That's not so much what matters. That helps keep the ADHD down. Okay. But what actually matters is that you have a value proposition. You have an offer that people want to hear. And that's true of all advertising, but it's especially true in video. If people watch your video for 10 to 20 seconds and they don't believe that to continue watching that, and really, if they watch your video for 3 to 10 seconds, and during that 3 to 10 seconds, they don't immediately conclude that investing another 30 seconds in this video is going to help them, they won't do it. Now, you can do all sorts of gimmicks to try to hold their attention, but ultimately, if they're not getting value, our attention span has never been worse. The good news is video is still one of the best ways to engage your audience, if not the best way to engage your audience. But you have to be basically fire hosing value at them all the time. But once they're convinced that the value is coming in, their patience does begin to lengthen. Meaning, once you've given them, say, 30 seconds, 45 seconds of good stuff, they'll sit still for 2 minutes without good stuff because they believe more good stuff is coming. So you have to constantly drip the candy. And it's one of the challenges with video marketing, is how to do that really well. This is why I continue to be a fan of email marketing as a follow-up. Let people click to watch a video and subscribe to watch a video so that you can follow up with email, because very few people will finish the video. But what they have done is they've indicated that they're interested in the topic. And so in your follow-up emails, you can continue to build value by sending them more and more positive content apart from that video. And those are the types of sequential, predictable success marketing techniques we train in the private client group, because they work and they're not that hard to do. First, you have to understand the strategy. That's what we do on Mondays. Then you have to understand the technical part, which is what we do on Thursdays. But once you get it, it really is incredibly effective. And for entrepreneurs and for small business owners, you can be doing this stuff on your own. You don't have to hire marketing firms, which, by the way, most marketing firms will run an ad for you, maybe 2 ads, and they'll charge you at least $1,000 a month to do that. Plus you pay for the ads themselves. So you end up spending about $2,000 a month to have an ad running, where you could be doing that on your own. And for $2,000 a month, you could be running ads all over the place. So just something to think about. For some people, they just could never wrap their head around it. They'd rather just pay someone to do it, and that's fine. Take someone like Kristin. She does both. She knows how to do it herself, and she pays someone to help her do it as well. So both options work. Here's my point, guys. If you're going to use video to market yourself, there's some key things you need to understand. And in this week's Freebie Friday, I'm going to talk a little bit about it. But if you really want to know how to do it and you really want to dive in deep, then you've got to check out the private client group to do that. you can learn all that fancy stuff too. All right, guys, we are at time for today, but if you have any questions or comments, get them in now. I'm happy to answer anything at all about marketing, about sales, about leadership, anything at all. Questions about video, questions about Facebook ads, questions about Kristin, our guest today, anything at all. Otherwise, we will wrap it up. I'll give you a minute to put that in while I take my final sip of coffee. All right, quiet out there today, no problem. We will see you guys tomorrow. If there's anything particular you'd like me to be talking about on these podcasts, any things that would suit your fancy, you can head on over to Stronghold Training on Facebook and send me a message and let me know, or put it in the comments on this. If you're watching the recording, or go to the Stronghold Training Facebook page and join the group, the Stronghold Collaborative. In the group Stronghold Collaborative, we talk about all this type of stuff there. You get a little bit of free help from me there. So you can also promote your business there. So if you're interested in having a conversation about anything, you can go to the Stronghold Collaborative on Facebook. That's my group. And put your comments in there about what you'd like me to be talking about on these. And I broadcast these live in that group as well. So without further ado, since I don't see any other questions or comments, we will end today. Thank you, Kristin Pelletier of Access Computer Training, for being my guest today. Again, her number is 813-326-2628. Access Computer Training is her company. Get free training, government paid. She'll help you get the job that you want. So I will see you guys on the next Growing Smart.